It's time to make our brackets, but before we do that, who's the most dangerous team that we could face? Who do we got to be on the lookout for? We're breaking it down bracket style on the AZ Wildcats podcast. Stick around. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome on into the AZ Wildcats podcast, coming to you live from Studio K, presented by our friends over at Circle K. It is I, your host, Damon Fairall, with my co-host, Kevin Thomas, aka Kevo Post, breaking down Arizona's bracket. Of course, Selection Sunday, this past Sunday, saw Kevin, Damon bringing you a live watch along, but now it is the week. It's time to talk about these basketball games a little bit more in depth, and Kevin and I are excited to break down this full bracket with you guys here today on the AZ Wildcats podcast. But of course, we are presented by our presenting sponsor of Branded Bills. Head on over to brandedbills.com and use promo code BBPHNX for 15% off your first order, again over at brandedbills.com, promo code BBPHNX. Kevin wearing that Branded Bills. Of course, I got a Branded Bills hat on. You got a Branded Bills hat on. We all got Branded Bills hats on.
Coach Chappelle got one on right now.
Of course. Coach Chappelle lives with a Branded Bills hat on. He sleeps with a Branded Bills hat on. And you damn sure could, because these hats are that comfortable. If you're a side sleeper or a back sleeper, I guarantee you could fall asleep with one of these Branded Bills hats on your noggin.
I mean, that's an incredible advertisement there for Branded Bills, though, Damon. But yes, check out Branded Bills. Check out their campus collection. Check out these Arizona Wildcats in the 1 seed of the West region. Some people, Tyler Warden, maybe on Twitter, calling it the no defense region for a bunch of reasons, which we will get into in a bit. But to start off today's show, Damon, we do have a little bit of breaking news, so to speak. I guess broken news, rather. But the AP All-American list did come out today. Now, you might be surprised. You might not be surprised. No Arizona Wildcats on the AP All-American list. And I don't know about Damon, but I'm not really here to adjudicate whether or not I think that Arizona should have had one or two or however many guys on those lists. But I do think it means one thing and one thing only. That AP Coach of the Year award had better be express overnight FedEx shipped to one Tommy Lloyd in Tucson as soon as possible. And hell, I might even include a gift if I was the AP for maybe being a little bit tardy, because this award could have got to Tommy Lloyd days ago at this rate. No AP All-Americans, no preseason guys, no this, no that. Just one of the most historic seasons, regular seasons in Big 12 history. How are we feeling about the All-American list? How are we feeling about what it means for maybe Tommy Lloyd's Coach of the Year potential?
Yeah, I mean, and we can talk specifics here a little bit as well. I don't want to make it seem as though the guys that are on this list are bums, but it does feel like you have to throw a bone to a team that had as great of a regular season as the Wildcats just did, right? And this was a take that if you've been listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast, you've known that Kevin and Damon have we labeled Tommy Lloyd National Big 12 Coach of the Year, you name it, before a basketball game was played. Stamped it. You can go back. There are receipts of this. I have a tweet where I said basically two thoughts on this preseason, Big 12 team, first team that you guys have put together. Jaden Bradley disrespect is out of this world. Number two, Tommy Lloyd better have that trophy with his name on it before the season even starts. And that was before we knew Arizona was going to win the whole conference. We knew it was a gauntlet of a conference, but Arizona was preseason number 4. And we were sitting there thinking, maybe they could do a little bit better than that for sure. But, the idea that you have 0 players that are caliber of being on, the top 10 players of the league, but you can win the entire thing. Crazy. Obviously, the Big 12, post Big 12 team list, postseason list did feature some Wildcats. So it's not as though, you got snubbed in that direction. But Yeah, man. It's just it's funny at every turn. You just kind of come to expect this stuff. And again, we can get into the specifics here in a second, but there's just no question in the world who the coach of the year is when you look at this these kind of lists. If there was a fourth or a fifth team, Kevin, does every Wildcat make the list? Like, I guess that would be my question.
Would the fourth team just be the starting five?
Would the fourth team literally be the Arizona starting five? Because it feels like that might be warranted based off of what I'm looking at right here.
Yeah, and based on what Damon is looking at, and for our audio listeners and for our visual listeners as well, the AP All-American teams are as follows. First team, Darius Acuff Jr., AJ DeBonsa, Yaxel Lindeborg, Cam Boozer, JT Toppin. Second team, Fears Jr., Braden Smith, Keaton Vogler, Joshua Jefferson, Caleb Wilson. Third team, Christian Anderson, LeBaron Philon, Kingston Flemings, Thomas Haug, Graham Ike. Interesting All-American teams list, considering you have so many Big 12 guys that didn't make the first team over some guys in their own conference. For example, like Flemings and Anderson, no Jaden Bradley run. I mean, conference player of the year. I understand why he would not make a list like this, but it felt like the momentum was that of, you're rewarding the best team in the best conference. You're giving it to the guy who won conference player of the year in the best conference. I was kind of surprised to see like Philon and Flemings there over like Burries or Bradley. Also interested to see Graham Ike make it over like Matthias Krivas, for example. I do know that this has a lot more to do with, like counting stats and stuff like that.
It's a who's who of who puts up counting stats on this All-American team.
I mean, Fears over like Anderson. Fears has more balls kicked this year than buckets made. You know what I mean? That's a bit of a joke. I mean, I know he puts up huge assist numbers and does a ton for Michigan State, but second team feels pretty strong. Christian Anderson, I would rather have on second team over Fears, mostly because the impact we saw him have when JT Toppin went down, rather. I don't know. It's an interesting list, somewhat predictable list. But yeah, no Arizona Wildcats. It does feel like if you did a fourth team, it would just be Bradley, Burries, Karchenkov, Peat, Krivas.
Yeah.
Honorable mention, Awaka, Del Orso, Aristode.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sam Alberts in the chat said it's because AP poll voters are stat supremacists. And I get it. Like, this is a counting stat award. This is to an extent, a brand award, right? But I did think you might get one Arizona Wildcat snuck in there somewhere on one of the top three teams for the AP. But not totally shocked, like Damon said. Like, more so concerned about Tommy Lloyd getting that coach of the year, because if he doesn't have any of these players and he's whooping all these teams, except for Texas Tech, he's whooping all these teams, he better be coach of the year. Better be.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, listen, I'm looking at Jeremy Fears' stats right now. Like, good player, 9 assists a game, incredible in college.
Huge
incredible. Are we sure he should have been on the team over Brayden Burries or Jaden Bradley?
Over Anderson, Philon, or Flemings?
Well, I mean, those guys are on the list. I agree with you. They should be above him in terms of second team over third team.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, move him down a little bit.
But I'm shocked that he makes any team over a Brayden Burries, who doesn't average his amount of assists, but averages more rebounds, more points, shoots over 5% better from the field, and plays on a significantly better team as the leading scorer of a team with 1 million mouths to feed. What would Brayden Burries average if he played in East Lansing? 25? Like, I find that shocking in particular. That is a shocker. Get Jeremy Fears over any of the two Arizona guards that put up All-American caliber seasons this year. Further looking down the list, like, it feels like it's kind of the third team is, I know you mentioned Christian Anderson, but it's almost a who's who of who got belt to ass from Arizona this year.
Pretty much, yeah.
Thomas Haug, LeBaron Philon, Kingston Flemings.
Graham Ike coming soon.
Yeah. I mean, crazy. Of course, the first team features the two players that Big 12 fan bases were screaming, throwing tantrums, crying their eyes out about not winning the Big 12 Player of the Year in both JT Toppin and AJ DeBonsta. So Jaden Bradley, not good enough to be on any of the 3 teams, but both of those guys who were not the Big 12 players of the year, both get first team. I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting to look at. I don't necessarily like sit up here and say like, man, that's a travesty.
Yeah,
I guess the biggest one to me, it feels like either EK for Krivas or Fears for Burries, in my opinion, or Bradley, depending on which direction you want to go. But I think that I would have made those changes. But other than that, like, I'm not too offended by it. But as you said, like, all it does is prove one thing and one thing only, and that's that Tommy Lloyd better be bringing home his second career Naismith Coach of the Year award en route to 2 and 5 seasons.
Crazy.
Top 5 seed or top 4 seed in all 5 of those seasons, 4 conference championships. Like, this is the craziest start to a coaching career I think we've ever seen in the history of college basketball, especially considering that Tommy was not a head coach before. He was an assistant, and his first stop as head coach, he took over a top 10 program and has like hit the ground running in a fashion that is probably the best 5-year stretch maybe that we've really even seen in Arizona basketball history. I mean, it's up there in that late 80s to early 90s stretch, I would argue, or that late 90s to early 2000s stretch, but it's right alongside with it. So, yeah, man, I mean, Tommy Lloyd is a special coach, and if he doesn't win Coach of the Year, Kevin, I say we fly to wherever the hell the NCAA headquarters are and we burn that place to the frickin' ground.
Yeah, I mean, in Fortnite, for legal purposes, what we're saying, we're going to recreate it and then burn it down in Fortnite.
No, I'm being dead serious. I'm burning it to the ground. You can go ahead and use this as evidence in litigation against me.
See, you can do that now because you said I and not we, so we're good on that note. But no, I'm with you, Damon. Like, if he does not win Naismith Coach of the Year and it doesn't go to, like, I don't know. I don't really know if there's a guy.
It's gonna be Dusty May.
I don't really know.
Are you ready for the
Shire.
Dusty May show?
I feel like it's gonna be John Shire or Tommy Lloyd. Like, I feel like that. I could even see them giving it to Jay Lucas over Dusty May, and that is because Jay Lucas, former Duke assistant, stayed in the ACC, went to Miami, led them to a great year this year. But I just think it's Tommy Lloyd's award, and if it's not Tommy Lloyd's award, it had better be John Shire's or something. It had better not be no Travis Steele, respectfully to him, or like Shirts, respectfully to him, or May, disrespectfully to him. You know what I mean? Like, it had better be Tommy Lloyd. And if it's not Tommy Lloyd, we had better get a great damn explanation, because it feels like he's put together about as perfect of a resume for Coach of the Year status as you could, because it's not a postseason award, right? So no matter what happens from this point on, he's either going to win it or he's not. And I think that he's put together, just outside of going undefeated in the Big 12 Conference, what was he supposed to do? Outside of, like, beating Kansas in Fog Allen, beating Texas Tech. When you had them up at home, you should have beat them. But is that really what's going to cost you Coach of the Year? Losing to Christian Anderson and JT Toppin? That feels crazy to me. So, yeah, no All-Americans for Arizona. Somewhat predictable. The list is slightly debatable when we talk about Jeremiah Fears, talk about Graham EK, talk about Brayden Burries and Jaden Bradley, Mo Krivas not making it. 3DMK shouting out Hoiberg as well. But yeah, great start. But it's not the year Arizona had. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like this year they're really, obviously I am biased. We do an Arizona Wildcats podcast. I've watched more Arizona basketball than any other team in the country, right? But it feels like this is Tommy Lloyd's award more so than it's anyone's award in any year. Like, it feels like he should be walking away with this one pretty easily, unless they're gonna do like the Duke thing and give it to John Shire, who had, you know, Cam Boozer and all these dudes. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I woke up this morning and I was like, oh, so Tommy Lloyd won Coach of the Year. That's where my morning's going. Damon, do we have any more All-American thoughts?
No, not really. Just that we're ready to riot if need be in the way of our supreme leader, Tommy Lloyd, who, you know, we pray at the altar of every night, and it would be an egregious disrespect to not only get nobody on either of these 3 teams, but also get no respect for your coach, who, you know, as we've stated, like, had 0 first team all conference players, apparently has 0 All-Americans now, and somehow found a way to manage the season against a gauntlet strength of schedule with 2 losses and what is it, like 31 wins. Unbelievable, Kevin. So yeah, you know, not exactly the most shocking thing, but As I said, I feel like if you did a fourth team, you would probably have 3 Arizona players on the list, at least. Like, I literally think it'd be Jaden Bradley, Brayden Burries, Mo Krivas, and then, like, Koa Peat, probably not, but would have a shot. Koa Peat would have, like, he'd be in the conversation probably to be on that fourth team.
Yeah,
So, you know, it's maybe we make a graphic after the show's over, Kevin, for the fourth. In case you guys wanted the unreleased fourth team, it's the entire Arizona Wildcats. Woo!
That's pretty good. We should make that. That'd be pretty funny, Damon. We should make that. But I will say this while we're, on the postseason awards topic. I have one more take that I'd like to get off before we get to our first break here. I know that Ivan Karchenkov is not going to win Naismith Defensive Player of the Year. That does not make me any less offended when the award gets announced and he does not make some sort of elite defensive list. Is that rational? No. Is that really how I feel in my heart? Yes. Shout out to Ivan Karchenkov, man. Clean cut. I don't know if y'all saw that on Instagram/Twitter today. Man's got a cut after the Big 12 tournament, looking fresh. But yeah, I mean, I
was talking to somebody and they said that they chopped Ivan Karchenkov and they were like, he's like the nicest guy in the world. And I was like, he really is. He's a sweetheart.
Genuinely. Yeah, genuinely. Hopefully we get him on the show sometime after the tournament. But Damon, we do have a lot more to talk about. Today is the bracket breakdown extravaganza in a way. You saw our live reactions on the watch along. You saw how we felt about the best and worst case scenarios in our VOD. If you have not checked that out, go to this channel after our stream today is over and check out that. Me and Damon broke down our best and worst case scenarios for the way this bracket fell for Arizona. But today, we're going to do a breakdown of some of the more dangerous opponents Arizona could face from the round of 64 all the way up to kind of that Elite 8 range. We're talking everybody from Long Island to Miami. I know that's just the coast, but you get my point there. We're going to do all that and more after our first break here on the AZ Wildcats pod. Stick around, leave a like, drink your water, don't go anywhere. If you've been involved in a serious accident involving injury or wrongful death, unfortunately, there's only one thing to do, and that is your research, because the lawyer you pick for that type of case is real deal, a canon event, so to speak. That is something that can either, it's a bifurcated path, go good or go poorly for you. But when you do your research, you'll find that the husband and wife law team have been doing this for generations out here in the Valley and are one of just 1% of lawyers certified by the Arizona State Bar for injury and wrongful death litigation. And you can reach them at any time about anything. That's one of the things that makes the husband and wife law team so perfect for the Valley. There's so much going on out here, but you can always, they're never too busy for you. You can always reach out to them. You may speak with one of their lawyers as often as you choose. And my favorite thing about the husband and wife law team, Damon, is that they tell you the strengths and the weaknesses about your case. The same way, we're not going to let you do your bracket without knowing the strengths and the weaknesses to the Long Island Sharks. They're not going to let you walk into that courtroom without the strengths and the weaknesses of your case. So if you had a serious injury, call the husband and wife law team first at 602-783-8841 or visit their website in our show notes below. Let them know Damon Dog and Kevo Post sent you on over.
Shout out the husband and wife law team, and shout out my thirst stop, America's thirst stop, Circle K, for always getting me locked and loaded with my caffeine needs, my fuel needs, my snack needs, you name it. Circle K has you covered, and they are a one-stop shop when it truly comes to all things getting ready for your day, or maybe you're coming to wind down after the end of a work day. Circle K is locked and loaded. They got the best snacks in the business for the cheapest price point possible. And of course, the Inner Circle Rewards membership program is here to help save you money, on gas in particular, which we all know is just out of this world expensive right now. If you sign up for the Inner Circle for free today, you can get 25 cents off per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups at the tank, which is a big deal in these days. And of course, then you'll save 3 cents off per gallon every time you fill up after that until you hit premium status like me and Kevin, and you save 5 cents off per gallon. All types of Inner Circle Rewards fuel days to be on the lookout for as well. They have about one each month where you can save 40 cents off per gallon on any particular day that Circle K selects. We'll keep you updated on those. But guys, you can only be a part of that if you're an Inner Circle member. So become an Inner Circle member today by downloading that brand new free app. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit circlek.com for details.
Welcome on back to the AZ Wildcats podcast, where today we're doing a bracket breakdown full scale for Arizona. But I will say this before we get to that, Damon. Did you see this Hunter Dickinson quote that's been floating around? recently?
Sorry, I don't speak Big Oaf. Would you mind enlightening me?
Because I know he's your favorite basketball player of all time. So
Oafenese, as I like to call it. That's what Hunter Dickinson speaks.
he did come out and say, like, he was kind of just talking about how his latter time at Kansas was just the worst and how everything sucked and how he didn't enjoy his time there and blah, blah, blah. He said, quote, "For me, it got to a point where I didn't like playing. We would come to the gym and it felt like a job." And I'm like, man, you're playing for Bill Self in Kansas. That sounds like a you problem. If he's holding you to high standards because he's also paying you a bunch of money, it kind of is a job.
It's 100% a job.
Dare I say you're employed, Hunter Dickinson? You have this college student mindset, even though you're well into your 20s, of like, well, I just want to show up and play basketball, and I don't want any expectations, and this shouldn't feel like a big deal. Brother, you're playing at Kansas, getting paid to play at Kansas University. It's going to feel like a job. I just thought that I would give you an opportunity to send a little bit of shots at Hunter Dickinson for being a big lazy oaf.
You know, Kevin, that's about the least shocking thing I've ever heard in my life, because who on this podcast has been saying for as long as we've been doing it, which was in the middle of last basketball season, that Hunter Dickinson is the reason that Bill Self and Kansas have fallen off of a cliff. I was like, get Hunter Dickinson out of the program and watch how much better Kansas gets. And while they weren't maybe like the team that they probably could have been this season, in large part because of the inconsistency of their best player, I mean, they're certainly significantly better than they were last year. And Hunter Dickinson is not a winning basketball player. Straight up. Straight up. He wasn't at Michigan. He isn't at Kansas. And you know what? Kansas benefited from that guy leaving the program, because I just don't think you can win with a guy who is that bad defensively, needs to be out on the floor all the time, needs the ball in his hands with his back to the basket like it's ancient 1980s basketball. Like, he's just not a player that helps you win in any way, shape, or form. And I think that, Bill Self is probably as happy as anybody that dude's. He was like, you know what, Hunter? Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out, buddy. We're handing the keys to Flory Badunga. He's significantly better at the game of basketball.
And guess what? He wants to be here. Guess what? He wants to play for Kansas and is passionate about it.
How much better Kansas's defense got just by way of their center going from Hunter Dickinson to full-time Flory Badunga.
I mean, you heard it here first, not only that Hunter Dickinson stunk, but you also heard it here first that guess what Bill Self did in the Big 12 before Hunter Dickinson? Won a bunch of games. Guess what he did with Hunter Dickinson? Struggled to win any game of consequence.
5th place.
And this podcast tried to tell everybody, hey, maybe when you remove the growth from your locker room, maybe you might get better. You might move a little better. You might have a little bit of a pep in your step, and surely that is what happened this year. Now, obviously, they had some ups and downs, but undeniable, this is a much more fun to watch Kansas basketball team than anyone with Hunter Dickinson. But that's enough Kansas talk out of the way. I just saw that, and I was like, I gotta see if Damon saw this, because Hunter Dickinson on the timeline saying, "Oh, this felt like a job. I was getting paid seven figures.
When I got paid $4 million, they expected me to act professional.
How dare I show up and give my hardest work every day when they're paying me millions of dollars?"
I think, and this is the kind of situation where, like, I'm thankful that we have a coach like Tommy Lloyd. And again, like, this is no shot at Bill Self, but I think there are times where Bill Self, is not as much personality vetting as he is talent vetting. Think about Darren Peterson in particular. Like, I think he's probably gotten a little bit better and probably taken the criticism on the chin and, like, maybe been a little bit more reliable as the season has gone down the stretch. But you'd be lying to yourself if you asked Bill Self, hey, is this the ideal situation? And he's like, yeah, we love what DP has done this year. Like, I think, Josh Jackson, another great example of that, like a guy who just is a head case, but extremely talented. Bill Self sometimes is like just trying to collect the infinity stones and without care for what the fit looks like. And Tommy Lloyd, like, just will outright never, ever, ever, ever do that. He's never going to be like, oh, my eyes lit up. It's Hunter Dickinson. Come to Tucson. That's a name I recognize. It's like, no, if you don't fit the system and you don't fit the program from a personality standpoint, you will not be on this team. And so that's where I'm like, I'm just thankful that we will hopefully avoid having anybody like Hunter Dickinson ever, because even Trey Townsend, who was a colossal disappointment, was a great dude.
Tuesday, March 17th. Did not expect Trey Townsend mentioned on the pod.
but like to the point of like he still shows up and everyone's we love Trey. Trey's awesome. He's the best guy. But like he stunk at basketball, but at least he was not a horror to be around every single day. And I'm sure Hunter Dickinson was just like, everybody in that locker room was probably like, Jesus, man, like this guy and his complaints and his big oafing. It's like enough. Enough is enough.
One last little side topic here. We don't got to get too deep into it, but we're talking about like program issues, and Alabama's having a lot of those right now. Brian Edwards brings up in the chat, anyone change their pick on Alabama, Texas Tech after Holloway gets arrested for marijuana?
That's Nate Oats culture. Nate Oats culture. Hashtag Oats ball.
The Oatcher. Either way, though, like, yeah,
that's good.
I saw that and I was like, man, that is a crazy thing to happen. Not only at any point in your life, but 3 days after the SEC tournament ends and a week before you get into the NCAA tournament. And I think he got a traffic stop like last Monday or something. I'm speaking from a not place of expertise on the topic, but I believe there was a traffic stop. And then a couple days later, they go to the apartment. They find over 2 pounds of illicit substances there, paraphernalia, cash. No tax stamps, though.
This ain't the Freedom State, brother.
No tax stamps. Gotta have the tax stamps.
Welcome to Alabama.
Gotta have the tax stamps. But overall, Damon, like...
Not that you can have that much in Arizona either, but...
Yeah. Dude, I posted yesterday, like, what was Aiden Holloway doing with over a pound of weed genuinely? And some people were, like, smoking it, dude. And I'm like, bro... I've been using marijuana for a long time now, brother. I've never desired that much. What are you gonna do with it? It does imply other things. I'm not gonna say what it implies because we innocent until proven guilty in this country. But it's disappointing. Really, is what it is. Like you're getting paid NIL now. You don't gotta do this anymore. I saw a funny tweet though, Damon. It was like, man, he's just slinging for the love of the game at this point.
100%.
You got 6-figure, 7-figure NIL deal. You're just like, I don't have a side hustle. It's that grind set, man. It's that grind set.
That's absolutely insane. Being like, that's like me. That's like my version of my Poshmark, Kevin. Just on the side, he's like, I gotta make a couple quick bucks, and you're like, off of marijuana. Like, what's that even selling for these days?
Come on, man. You're on the Alabama basketball team. This is not McNeese, brother.
No. People
on ESPN, they talk about you on ESPN. You can't just be pulling up in the Hellcat to some dude's house like, here's the baggie. No. Even if he's a part of the distribution line at some point, you cannot be a part of this. Man, Nate Oats ball, man. It's crazy. But
that's hashtag Oats culture. I mean, it's this guy... Every year we got something, Kevin.
Yeah.
And I, like, it's crazy too, because I didn't have any like disdain for Nate Oats. And then in the last like year and a half, I've been like, man, this guy really sucks. He really sucks. Between the G League stuff and just constantly having issues in your program left and right, Jaden Bradley has to be thanking his lucky stars that he got the hell out of Tuscaloosa when he did, man.
Travis Clones says he's been waiting on this kind of a leap for NIL. But I also add, Travis Clones, I owe you food recommendations. He DM'd me, said, hey, do you have any St. Louis food recommendations for me? I think he's heading down there. And I said I was on my way into the office, and I would get that to him when I sat down. And I sat down and started prepping for this show and did not get the recommendations out to you. So if those are still timely, I will get those to you after the show. Travis, let me know in the chat. But
Travis Clones, I think we got ourselves a drought to break. Both of our programs here in this March Madness tournament. I think we could be seeing a potential rematch.
Whoa. I want no parts of mommy, dude.
No, I'm not saying I do either. Especially if they make it all the way there. That implies that they're continuing to play insane basketball. Yeah. Also, this is also a tangent, but I saw a stat, Kevin, that one of my buddies sent me the other day, and it was the 10 teams. It was from Ryan Hammer. The 10 teams rolling into the tournament in the last 5 games of the season. Did you see this?
I did see this.
Kind of insane.
Yeah.
No?
No, it was. I'd have to pull it back up. But.
So Arizona falls number 2 on the list, right? 1 seed Arizona in those 5 games went 5-0, right? 5-0. And so it's like, oh, okay, well, who's playing better than the Arizona Wildcats? They put Iowa State as the #1 team according to these analytics, showing the level of play in the last 5 games. Kevin, any guesses as to what Iowa State's record is in the last 5 games?
Oh, I should know it. But is it what, 4-1?
3-2.
Oh, okay.
2 losses to.
Oh yeah, that
Right?
was within the last 5. Yeah. Yeah, they would have played the Arizona game, and then they would have played maybe one more,
And then 3 tournament
games. Yeah.
So they're #1. Their 2 losses are to the team in the 2 spot, who's 5-0. That's a little crazy. I was looking at that stat, doing the Galifianakis on the math in my head, being like, how does that make any damn sense?
Yeah.
Well, you see, Arizona's so good that Iowa State almost beat them, so that means that analytically they go above, and you're like, what? What about the team that won the games?
Yeah.
The analytics all year have been blowing my mind, Kevin. They really have.
You know what I didn't, and this is not a diss to Iowa State. It's more just like contextually.
Yeah, that was no diss to Iowa State either. In fact, I think Iowa State is playing some of the best basketball in the country. And I think against almost every other team other than Arizona, they win that game because that was a ridiculous output in that semifinal game.
More context for those last 5 games for Iowa State. 2 of those, and back-to-back, mind you, with a break in between, come against Arizona State University. Eesh. Kind of spotting you 2 games in that 5-game stretch.
That's part of it as well. Yeah, they won that one game by like 40 points. So I think that's what puts them above Arizona in that regard. But again, that's like what I'm talking about with the analytics, where you're like, have some freaking contextualization.
I love it.
You're just going to be like, oh yeah, well, they beat a horrible ASU team by 40. So that they must be playing great basketball. It's like, okay, cool.
Yeah. Make sure to like this video, by the way. The likes are quite light. We've done our part. The Arizona Wildcats are doing their part by waiting for their Long Island Sharks opponent. You can do your part by liking today's stream. But yeah, you bring up the Arizona State stuff, Damon. I'll say this. From Saturday, March 7th to Wednesday, March 11th, they played 2 games. Arizona State at home and Arizona State in the Big 12 tournament. They won that game, those 2 games, by a combined, what is that? Is that 70 points? I mean, it's unbelievable. It doesn't matter if it's 70, 60, whatever it is. Like, that is unbelievable. So, yes, Iowa State is playing one of the best brands of basketball right now in the country, but also it's still the same Iowa State team in many respects that we've seen all year. They've gotten to play Arizona State 2 out of the last 5 games.
Yes.
Now, Arizona, that game against Arizona, they played lights out of their mind. They did lose on a game-winning, buzzer-beating Jaden Bradley improbable shot.
Easily could have won.
Yes. And, you know, the story around that would be so much different now. But I do think that's important context. 2 of those 5 were the school of the deaf and blind.
It's just it's as 3DMK says in here, like, you get that stats bump from murdering ASU on live television. I don't understand why the analytics pump so much into things like that over how you perform against the top level competition. It feels like it should be weighted. It's like it's been the same conversation with Duke versus Michigan versus Arizona all year, where it's like, well, Michigan really beats the crap out of Maryland when they play them on a Tuesday night, and Duke sure does handle business when Wake Forest comes to town. Sorry, Gil. But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, what about Arizona beating UConn in Stores? And they're like, well, they only won by 3. And you're like, what matters more? Beating UConn by 3 or beating Maryland by 32?
Yeah.
Genuinely.
Yeah.
And be weighing those the same as each other just never will make sense to me. But yeah.
You know, Damon, this is actually off topic. And I do want to shout out Travis Clones again, who says, you guys can say you're welcome for beating ASU, you know. And we're always thankful that you literally beat them so bad that it's one of the worst losses in tournament history.
It's like breathing air or waking up in the morning or driving to work, Travis. Like, is the sky blue? Did you beat ASU?
Now, real quick, Damon, we are doing like I think some sort of baby photo thing here at PHNX on the social side of things, like the main social account. And Emma did request some baby photos of everyone in the office earlier, including you. And I asked my mom for some baby photos, and it's currently getting sent in the group chat, the family group chat, and it's a mess. Dude, who let me outside the house, man? Looking the way that I did. Bro, what was wrong with my mother? I know she's in this chat. You let me out the house look any type of way, man.
I'm expecting baby Kevin to still have the exact same beard. Like, I don't know why, but like I'm expecting a full grown ass man beard on this little baby Kevin.
No, man, no beard. Although it would have maybe made me look a little bit more mature for my age. I'm in one of these photos rocking a Kool-Aid shirt that makes me look like the literal Kool-Aid man.
That's fire.
It's fire, but not to look back on it and see your face attached to the body wearing the shirt.
Oh yeah, Kevin.
Oh no. We're gonna break down Arizona's bracket after our second and final break on the AZ Wildcats podcast. Stick around, leave a like, and Edgar, I thought we were friends. This is more than just the most wonderful time of the year for all you basketball sickos out there. It's also time for nice any home renovation projects. It's a nice time for them, I should say. And when you want to do your home renovation projects the right way, the Window Depot is the place to go. And yes, you see it on the screen. You see it in their store. They are more than just a window store. Everything from cabinets, skylights, sinks, countertops, doors, all the way to windows. And now introducing flooring to the Tucson market as well. The Window Depot is doing it up. Best price, biggest inventory, Arizona made, locally trusted with 7 locations across Arizona, and windows proudly manufactured in Tucson. Phoenix, Tucson, Miranda, Chandler, there's one near you. Wherever your job site or project is, contractors and homeowners alike love the Window Depot for not only their quantity, but their quality. And you can browse and order directly online at windowdepot.com with real-time access to in-stock products at your nearest location. Visit thewindowdepot.com and get started on your next project today, or stop in at any one of their 7 Freedom State locations and get started on that next home renovation project. They'll have exactly what you need.
Kevin, you know that moment, that one where you realize that you left your favorite pair of sunglasses, you know exactly where you left them, you know when you did it, but it was 3 hours ago and it was in the most public of places. Those sunglasses are gone forever. It's devastating. You sit there, you think for me, speaking from a personal standpoint, I'm 12 hours minimum kicking myself about it. Can't believe I just blew it. You know what I mean? Like, Kevin's been around me once or twice.
Yeah.
I'm definitely sitting there being like, how did I leave my sunglasses on top of my car when I drove away? Well, if I just had Shady Rays, it wouldn't even be an issue, because I'd hit up the Shady Rays support team, I'd tell them what happened, and their lost and broken replacement policy, which is the only one like it in all of eyewear, will send you a brand new free pair. No questions asked. It's really that simple. We've had one of our listeners, Kobe, of course, who you guys know here in the chat, hit up customer support in the middle of one of these podcasts when I told him about this lost and broken replacement policy, and he got brand new sunglasses sent to him by the time the podcast was over. That's how responsive this team is, this support team is. They're here to help you. Shady Rays, it's the only sunglasses you're going to have to purchase because of that lost and broken replacement policy. You lose them, you break them, no questions asked. Shady Rays is sending you a brand new pair. They have all types of styles. They're polarized, they're durable, and they're not stupidly expensive. Get in on Shady Rays today. The eyewear that has your back. Go to shadyrays.com and use promo code PHNXSR for 40% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. Again, that's PHNXSR for 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses.
Welcome on back to the AZ Wildcats podcast, where we have a very, very special chatter to celebrate Max with 6 months of memberships. Play the air horn. Now, not only is that beautiful, but we're going to use Max's little free super chat here to debut a new sounder, Damon. Because if you had to describe Max, what would you say? Well, we should just let Brayden Burries do it.
He's a dog, honestly.
I'm gonna have to turn it up.
Now,
a
chat,
little
let me
bit
know
more.
if I need to turn that up.
Yeah,
I
let's do it
didn't
one
want to
more time.
blast anybody's ears, but I think I do need to turn it up. We're just going to double it up here on the back end. And this is Brayden Burries talking about Max.
He's a dog, honestly.
That's much better.
He's
a
a
dog,
dog.
honestly. Brayden Burries, shout out to the new sounder. Let us know how the volume was. I didn't want to go too crazy on the first one and just destroy people's eardrums for headphone listeners. We also have another dog, Carl Schroeder. One more time. Let's see if we can get better audio levels here.
He's a dog, honestly.
There we go. That
Carl
felt all right.
Schroeder, another dog here in the chat. Of course, I think I get to be I get to knight people.
You should.
No?
That
Like,
should be the Damon dog only cues that he's a dog,
yeah.
honestly.
But
sounder.
no two better people to get it than Carl Schroeder and Max, who are staples of this chat. I've been watching for a very, very long time. Basically, ever since me and Kevin started doing this thing, those guys have been pretty locked in. So we appreciate their continued support as always. You guys can become supporting club members as well and get in on these free anniversary monthly super chats. Of course, there's some extra members only content. Me and Derek and Emma just went out to Chase Field and filmed a kind of a vlog style thing about all of the new food items at Chase Field. So if you're a D-backs fan, you want to, maybe head out to a couple D-backs games this off season or during this season. That members only video that you can get by becoming a supporting club member can access to it. And of course, you guys can check out some of those food items, see what is in store. So appreciate everybody for, being supporting club members. We got lots of supporting club members in the chat, Kevin. And of course, over at All City Network, we are still going belt to ass on every other city when it comes to our number of supporting club
This
members.
is true.
We have the by far the largest amount, and it just goes to show how locked in this community is and how much you guys and how integral you guys are to this operation. So we love you guys. Thank you so much. Become a supporting club member today, $5 a month, and unlock some of these extra benefits, including the closer emoji.
The closer emoji might be the coolest thing we offer here at the company.
Now
Alexis,
that the Sims emoji is done, yes, of course.
True, 100%. Alexis Samuels in the chat says, at the airport on my way to San Diego, Wildcats, we better be out in full force. And I think that's going to be 100% true as I call back up, he's a dog, Carl Schroeder, who says, made my way from Connecticut to Tucson to soak up the tournament vibes for a week. And it is truly March, and the best fan base in the country is out and about and ready to make their presence felt. I love that from Alexis and from Carl. But Damon, let's talk tournament, because Arizona has I'll say a tough bracket ahead of them. There's no easy bracket in the NCAA tournament, genuinely. You're going to have to beat 1, 2, or 3 really high-level teams to cut down nets when it's all said and done. But we're going to get into who the toughest opponents theoretically will be for Arizona. But I know some people, maybe Brian Edwards in this chat, is going to say, oh, we're just going to look over our round of 64 opponent? That's incredibly disrespectful. And no. We're not going to do that. So let's talk about the Long Island Sharks. I really wish I could do the over-the-head, clap thing, but that feels like poor taste considering they're our opponents. But these are the Northeast Conference champions, 24-10, 15-3 in conference, 188th in offensive rating, 67th, doing the thing, in defensive rating. Strength of schedule is 350th in the country, pace 177th. Their best win was at home against JMU, and their worst loss was on the road at New Haven. Damon, what are your initial impressions of the Sharks?
They're about as good at defense as every other team in this West region is, Kevin. Their defensive rating is in the 60s. And that's literally that's not too far off of what Purdue's got going on, what Wisconsin's got going on, what Arkansas's got going on. The best teams in this region are somewhere in and around that number. So maybe it could be a good little primer for what we could come to expect from a defensive standpoint, but that offense is pretty damn low for a team that I want to say, kind of dominated their conference all year and obviously has now won their conference, made the tournament. Nothing really stands out to me about a 1 versus 16 matchup. I'll let you maybe divulge a little bit further in some ways that you tweeted that Arizona could potentially exploit Long Island in this one, but at the end of the day, you just have to take care of business against a team that has no business being in a basketball game with you, and Arizona should be able to beat Long Island by a very large amount of points.
Yes, and obviously they can dominate LIU in about every facet of the basketball game, but I do think there are 3 specific areas that should be outsized in impact in this game. Rebounding, Long Island is 290th in defensive rebounding percent. They back that up by allowing the 221st most defensive rebounds to their opponents per game. Their second chance points, Long Island allows 11.8 opponents' second chance per game. That is 267th in Division I. The turnovers. We know how big the winning on the margins is in March, right? So turnovers, winning the margin in every game is going to be huge for Arizona. Long Island forfeits a bunch of turnovers. They are 312th in Division I turnover percentage and 315th in turnovers per game. So I see Arizona suffocating the Sharks. I said it on the watch along. I will repeat it here. Have you ever seen a shark drown? You ever seen a shark go up for water and not be able to get back down to the depths of the sea from which they live? Arizona is going to drown the Sharks in their own body of water.
Punch them in the gills. That's what I've always heard.
Genuinely. But it's just they're going to kill them on the boards, turn them over a bunch, and get a ton of offensive rebounds. I think that this is a team that Arizona should have no problem getting some Sven Jotmo March Madness minutes, some Evan Nelson March Madness minutes.
Injected into my veins. I've long said that on this podcast, Kevin, I want to see Evan Nelson with the ball in his hands as the clock expires in the national championship game. I want the human embodiment of a victory, the human white flag for the opponent, of course, to be out there with the ball in his hands when that buzzer expires and we're cutting down nets when it's all said and done. That'd be special, Kevin. That's what I'm living for. That's what I get up every morning for.
It is. And if Arizona is able to dominate the Sharks the way that we think that they are, they're going to advance to the next round. That is the round of 32, Damon.
3DMK is right, though. Their logo, their colors, their uniforms, all pretty cool. I'm a fan.
Yeah,
I'm a fan of what LIU's got going on from a swag standpoint.
I mean, one of the coolest universities that we got in the tournament this year. Like one of the best stories, all that.
Absolutely. Take notes, swagless universities, Iowa State, Wake Forest, so on and so forth.
Dude, you and Gil are going to end up having to scrap. Keep
he might fight me.
Bringing the deeks up.
No,
like
he might, but specifically via like in regards to the swagless universities conversation, I might catch some hands from Gil McGregor for that because like that dude is as Wake Forest as it gets. So that just feels like pretty disrespectful. You know what I mean? But he has to be a part of that conversation.
It does. And if you advance to the round of 32, we could talk Villanova, but this show is about the most dangerous opponents that Arizona could theoretically face in any given round. Villanova, just about as dangerous as any other March Madness team. I get that. But if we're looking at which team I would rather face less, I'd much rather face Villanova than Utah State because Utah State looks like this. They are the Mountain West champions, sitting at 28-6, 15-5 in conference with a pace of 6-7, 180th in the country. Offensive rating 28th best in Division I. Defensive rating top 70 at 64. Strength of schedule top 100 at 80. And their best win of the season is close for me. Beating SDSU twice is pretty impressive, but also beating VCU in the non-conference, who went on to win their tournament or conference tournament later in the year, also impressive. Their worst loss, you lose to UNLV twice. So Utah State have put together an analytical darling of a season. But Damon, how dangerous are they towards the Arizona Wildcats in your opinion?
I think they are very dangerous, Kevin. I think that this, as far as a 9 seed goes, I think Utah State is a scary 9 seed because they have the momentum of winning a conference championship. They were the best team in the Mountain West essentially all season long. They were ranked at different times of the season. Like, they're a good squad. Their coach was not happy that Utah State was given a 9 seed. And I saw a statistic the other day, Kevin, that was like, it was like all of the teams that have like, let me see if I can find it real quick because I do follow a Utah State guy on Twitter.
Wow, special stuff.
Well, of course, I think he followed me because of course of my BYU tweets. So you know that some Utah State fans had to get in on that, and there was like a statistic, Kevin, and it was basically just like all of the teams that have made the most tournaments recently without, or not recently, but like ever without making a Final Four. And Utah State was like the one team that had like, they had like 18. Yeah, here it is. So most NCAA tournament appearances without a Final Four. This has been a stat that I've been asking people in the office all of last week about because, of course, the team with the most, BYU, 33 NCAA tournament appearances without a Final Four. The biggest losers, the best of the biggest losers, BYU, as usual. Mizzou with 31, Kevin. Xavier with 30. Tennessee with 28. Creighton with 26. And then Utah State with 26 tournament appearances somehow in their program's history. Wow. They're a low-key really good basketball program, man.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is what it had here. Basically, the times in which these teams have been a 3 seed or better in these tournaments, like Tennessee has been a 3 seed or better 15 of those 28 times, and they still don't have a Final Four. Utah State has never been better than an 8 seed. So they consistently are getting really tough matchups, but they're getting put in the tournament, but they're playing 1 seeds like left and right, 2 seeds all the time. So I think Utah State is scary. But at the same time, again, like this is a team that Arizona has not been in a game with, a caliber of team Arizona has not been in a game with all season long. best not start now and start playing down to your competition when it comes to Mountain West level opponents, because Arizona should be able to dominate this team.
Shout out to Greg Hansen, who, according to Carl Schroeder, is a Utah State grad.
He is, yeah. He's an
Wow.
Aggie legend.
Wow.
And let me add in here, Kevin, that I figured out the team that BYU fan was accusing me of being a fan of. It was Utah State.
No.
You remember when that
I do.
when I tweeted like what team is Blood talking about? And it was like, you've lost to UNLV twice, as always. You've lost to Grand Canyon. And I was sitting there and I was like, what the hell team does this guy think I'm a fan of? And he thought I was a Utah State fan. So, you know what? Utah State, Utah, Arizona fans, handshake emoji, bonding over our hatred of BYU. I absolutely love it.
Now, this one is a bit difficult to discuss, because if you advance past Utah State, that means you are into the Sweet 16, and you could be dancing with Arkansas or likely Wisconsin, who has put together a very strong season with some very strong wins accompanying that season. But they made it quite far in the Big Ten tournament. They finished 14-6 in the Big Ten, 24-10 overall. They have a top 25 offense. The defense is putrid at 201st rating-wise. Strength of schedule is 18th best in the country. Pace 169th. And their best win is at Michigan. That is a huge win to take note of. And their worst losses are versus USC and at Oregon, two programs that Damon and I are pretty low on at this point in time. History aside, Damon Dog, how do you feel about Wisconsin this year?
I mean, I think that's a team that's playing good basketball right now. They almost took down Michigan in the Big Ten tournament, right? So you have to respect that, because,
you know, two Michigan dubs.
Michigan is a team that is, you know, as much as I think we think Arizona is better than Michigan, they're a team that is of the caliber of Arizona. And so if Wisconsin is being able to go toe-to-toe with that squad, that tells me a lot about what that team's makeup is. That being said, what a despicable defensive rating.
I mean, it's horrific.
Did that say 201?
It did. And I'm about to fact check it right now to make sure I didn't make a mistake.
Dude, despicable. Like, I'm throwing up looking at that right now.
Let's see. Division ranks. No. Defensive rating is 201st. That is not a typo. They are one of the worst.
So bad you were like, did I make a mistake on the graphic?
Yeah. Was I flying through that too fast? Like, did I do division something else and not division ranks? But yeah, division ranks 201st in defensive rating.
Are they?
Per College Basketball Analytics, Wisconsin.
I'm looking right now. They're 50. Oh, I thought we were doing Ken Pom ranks.
That would make a lot more sense. That would make a ton more sense, actually, if where the confusion was there. Either way, though.
They're 51st in Ken Pom defense.
Okay. 51st in Ken Pom defense per Division I stats for defensive rating, 201st best defensive rating. So either way, though, you do not have a top 50 defense in Ken Pom, and the defensive rating absolutely stinks. But we do know that they have some crazy guards. Nick Boyd, John Blackwell, those two guys can light it up. What was the combined total from their game the other day? Like they scored like 70 plus points combined, and I think Wisconsin had like 90 as a team or something ridiculous. It was that game against Illinois where they scored 91 as a team, and Nick Boyd had 38, and Blackwell had, let's see, where is he at? Blackwell had 31. So they combined for 69 very nice points in that game. So if you were talking about a team in the tournament that you don't want to face, for sure, Wisconsin is up there because they do have those two guards that can go crazy. Not only that, we're talking about a team, Damon, with a 6'10 Aussie who can shoot the lights out of the arena in Austin Rapp. Did you see what he was doing against Michigan the other night?
Yeah,
single-handedly almost kept them in it.
Yeah, I mean, we got our own Australian, of course.
I know, but you don't look. I'll take Delhi, and I love that. I'll take Delhi, but I will say this much: like the 6'10 dude who can shoot the three and catch nuclear hot fire is maybe not the guy that I necessarily want to see in a one-game elimination tournament setting. Now, you can say the same thing about Darius Acuff in Arkansas, right? Like you can pull up this stuff for Arkansas that we have.
No doubt.
And you can see, hey, SEC champs, top 3 offense, defensive rating per College Basketball Analytics, just raw rating.
They're 48th according to Ken Pom in defense. So, again, not very good.
Yeah. And then the strength of schedule is high, pace is high. They beat Vanderbilt twice, and they've lost at Auburn. And I saw some stat today. Maybe I can pull it up. I might have bookmarked it. But I saw something where Darius Acuff and Malik Thomas are two of the most efficient guard duos in the country, or at least over the last conference play. But I don't know if it was over the course of the whole season. I couldn't really find the stat now that I just looked it up. But I know we're talking about guard duos with Boyd and Blackwell, but it feels like Acuff and Thomas, and you bring in Wagner off the bench, who used to be a 5-star guy. That is a hell of a backcourt or just scoring trio that Arkansas has. So Wisconsin or Arkansas, I feel like they're both genuinely really dangerous opponents. Do you have one you'd rather face more or less?
It's so tough for me because, as I said, I kind of think very raw reaction on the live watch along. It always felt like Wisconsin was going to be in Arizona's side of the bracket. The selection committee was licking their chops thinking about, and then it's Wisconsin, Arizona, and Arizona fans will all collectively just throw up all over the place seeing that this logo is on their region. But Arkansas has a player in Darius Acuff that if it's a one possession game at the end of a game, I'm all of a sudden, Kevin, I'm inconsolable.
Dude.
You're gonna walk to the other side of the office to be away from me because I'm sitting there just as scared as can be thinking about, man, we're about to go toe to toe with a top 5 pick, trading shot for shot. And that's something that you don't want to do. I'm going to actually throw the question back on you. Would you rather play a team that's elite offensively and terrible at defense like these two teams, or the other way around where they're terrible at offense but elite defensively, maybe a Cincinnati, for example?
This year, with
what
this team?
What fits what Arizona does better from an Arizona fan standpoint? Who do you think gives Arizona a better chance of moving on against?
This year with this team, I would rather face an offensive juggernaut that cannot play defense than a defensive juggernaut like a Cincinnati that might not be able to put the ball in the hoop. Because I think we've seen that Arizona can just about shut down any high-level, high-octane offense this year, or at least slow them down at the very minimum. But we've seen it with Alabama. You're not going to just run Arizona off the court with a bunch of jump shots and a bunch of pace. They're just as good in transition as you, if not better, and their defense is unbelievable. I think I'd rather face that team than a team that could maybe hold Arizona down for 5 straight minutes. You know what I mean? I think we've seen over the course of not only, Tommy Lloyd's tenure, but just at Arizona, it feels like when you get in these big games, there's always a stretch where it's damn, we haven't got a bucket in 5 minutes. And we're playing Clemson, Princeton. Why? Right? So I think I'd rather face a team that really can't stop you, but you can stop them, than a team that can stop you, and now it's incumbent upon you to make sure you're locked in on the defensive end. So, yeah, I don't know if that made sense, but that's my answer. I'd rather face the offensive juggernaut.
It made sense. I just think that Arizona is such a unique team where they're elite. They're so elite at both offense and defense that it's a really legitimate conversation as to what would be the better plan of attack for Arizona. Part of me actually thinks the other way around, Kevin, because I think Arizona's offensive floor is so high that even if they do get in a bit of a dogfight, you can't stop Arizona for 40 minutes straight. Whereas if you can't score against the Cats, you're in for a long night. I don't see a world where a team that's bad at offense is catching fire against Arizona, against this athleticism, this size, this level of intensity, physicality that the team plays with. But I do think that there's sometimes just games where an offensive team just is on fire, and Wisconsin is a really, really good offensive team. Arkansas is as good of an offensive team as almost anyone in the country. Another team we're about to talk about, Purdue, is the number 1 offense in the country. All are bad at defense, but if they're playing their game on offense, they could put up 90, and it wouldn't be shocking. Yeah. Now it's incumbent upon Arizona to then play their offensive style that they are accustomed to playing and taking advantage of a lackluster defense, right? And I'm not saying that that's going to mean that Arizona is out of a game like that all of a sudden, because you could still win those games. We've seen all year long, if Arizona's not playing their A game, they're still playing in those basketball games because their B game, their C game, their D game is good enough to beat most teams that you play. But at the same time...
Look, I might have thrown Damon off his track there with my intrusive thoughts. I didn't mean to do that. It's just, It's my intrusive thoughts, just the way that we do. But,
Man,
you were saying
I think that the floor of a team that's elite offensively is maybe a bit higher than the floor of a team that's elite defensively, but stinks at the other side of the basketball.
Valid. No, that's very valid.
Like if you keep Arizona, if you have an elite defense, you keep Arizona to 70 points. That's a good defensive performance, but you're not scoring 50. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And all of a sudden it's a blowout. But if Wisconsin's playing good offense and they score 90, now it's on Arizona to match that, or else it's over. So that's kind of where my mind goes with that. But there's not really a right or wrong answer. I think when you have a team that's top 10 in both categories, like Arizona on offense and defense, it really is a legitimate discussion. But the fact of the matter is that this is the offensive region, so you don't have the opportunity really to see what the defensive side of things looks like. You're all against elite offenses in the West.
Yeah, practically. Now, 3DMK answers both our questions in the chat by saying one team has a cuff, the other team somehow plays out of its mind against teams that are so much better than them. It's really a tough 50-50 in his book. To the question you asked me, he sides with me. He says defense travels, and regardless of our offense, the defense has held all season. Now, Damon, obviously, it is no guarantee that Arizona makes it anywhere in the March Madness tournament. We're not trying to get too far out ahead of our skis. But if they were to advance past the Sweet 16 to an Elite 8 scenario, you'd face likely one of four teams: Miami, Gonzaga, Purdue, and BYU. And now, for the sake of time, we probably shouldn't spend too much time on teams like BYU, for example, who have the 57th highest defensive rating in KenPom and then the 10th highest offensive rating as well. Now, their strength of schedule somehow is 16th best. Pace, 46th. Their best win, Iowa State. Their worst losses, Oklahoma State and West Virginia. We know what the deal is with this BYU team. They are the 10th best team in the Big 12 with the number one player in the conference.
I don't know if you guys caught that. I put up their 10th best team in the Big 12 when I made that graphic. I don't know. 10th place in the Big 12. Yeah, just read that at the top if you guys are missing that. But yeah, BYU, I mean, a team that, when you're doing the best win thing with BYU, I'm looking through, Kevin, and I'm like, oh.
Where are they at?
If they didn't beat Iowa State without Richie Saunders, which was a miracle win, and, they didn't rush the court for that one, but they rushed the court against Texas Tech. I don't know. I don't really understand. But yeah, then if they didn't win that game against Iowa State, their best win would have been against, I believe, Wisconsin. I'm pretty sure it's
probably.
I think Wisconsin, who is 22nd in KenPom, would have been their best win. After that, either Miami or Clemson, ACC schools. They don't have great wins. They don't have a great resume. They do have a lot of losses against great teams, but and they have some bad wins to boot as well. I mean, BYU probably not going to be playing them, but it's funny to put that graphic on screen anyways.
Shout out to my guy Spalding in the chat, my homie, who says, don't sleep on Conrad Martinez and the High Point Panthers back-to-back tournament appearances. They also have that Johnston kid, Damon, who I don't know if you've seen this, but has hit an ungodly amount of threes this season. He could be like the Jack Golke of this year, where everyone's like, oh my God, it's the High Point Panthers have Conrad and Johnston. They're going all the way.
I would kill to see High Point and Conrad Martinez in the Sweet 16. We are so due for some luck like that. We are.
No, we really are. What was it? Houston as a 6 seed, whatever it was that year?
5 seed Houston
Ridiculous.
with 4 losses.
Ridiculous.
I think they were 30-4, Kevin, and they were a 5 seed, but they were in the Americans, so they were like, we don't know how to seed them. It's Kelvin Sampson's Cougars.
Yeah, we are due for some High Point Panther basketball. But next up, we do have the Gonzaga Bulldogs, who are the WCC champs in their last year there. 17 highest offensive rating, the number 1 defensive rating per college basketball analytics in the country belongs to Gonzaga. 87th best strength of schedule per KenPom, and 66th best pace in the country. Best win, Alabama. Worst loss at Portland. What do you make of this Gonzaga team this year, real quick, Damon?
You could argue their worst loss was when they played Michigan and lost by 40.
Fair. I actually thought about including that because of the margin.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the context there. It's not that Michigan is obviously not an elite team, because they are, but when you had your opportunity to make your mark against that team and you got skunked. I made the claim earlier that was the Purdue Iowa State game the most embarrassing non-conference game of a premier matchup of the non-con, I was wrong. I forgot about Gonzaga versus Michigan. 101-61 final score.
Yeah.
Like losing to Portland is a disaster. Number
It is.
number
That's
202 team in Ken Pom. How they managed to do that, I have no clue. I'm pretty sure, Kevin, I had Gonzaga in my parlay that night. I'm not joking with you.
That's probably what did it. Damon Dog did it.
Yeah, I probably did. But that Michigan loss is despicable as well. I mean, Gonzaga, I think, is a great team. And, it's definitely not the team that I got like circled on my calendar of like, I hope we play them in the Elite Eight because, the storylines with Few versus Tommy and, all of what comes with that. And also the elite defense and kind of what you just said of thinking that an elite defense, a high floor defensive team might be a little bit more of a struggle than a high floor offensive team. Like, I'm not exactly just sitting there being like, give me Gonzaga, but I also don't think that this is your typical 3-loss Gonzaga team. I think this is a little bit worse Gonzaga team than we've become accustomed to seeing the last few years here. And I think Arizona is significantly better than them.
And also, I will add, do not sleep on Mario Saint-Supri. And also, I think it's Brent Fogel. What is it? What's his name? I know his last name is Fogel, but I'm blanking on his first name here. I'm pulling it up. Mario Saint-Supri and Davis Fogel. They have a couple freshmen over there at Gonzaga that are really getting it done. Mario Saint-Supri, he could be one of those guys, in my opinion, that like, if Gonzaga wins a couple games in the tournament, people are like, yo, how fun was it to watch Mario Saint-Supri absolutely cook this first round matchup? He had like 6-3, blah, blah, blah. Very fun team that Mark Few has up there in Washington. Now, another team that you might face is a post turtle, as Corey Williams would say. It's Purdue. How they get in the top of the rankings? I don't know. Somebody put them there. They can't get there by themselves because every time they do, they blow it. Big Ten champs, though? No. In my eyes, Purdue, fake. Paper Tiger.
Wow.
Paper Tiger, Damon. The number 1 offensive rating per College Basketball Analytics. The 36th best defensive rating per College Basketball Analytics.
That is adjusted defense by Ken Pom.
Ken Pom, number 1 offense. Ken Pom, number 36 defense. 7th best strength of schedule coming from the Big Ten. You know that's fake news. And then Pace, one of the slowest teams in college basketball. Best win was Michigan in this Big Ten championship. Worst loss was Indiana on the road. What do you make of Purdue? I think they're frauds. I always think they're frauds. Trey Kaufman-Renn, he should drop out of Purdue and become a magician, which is his life's goal already, and just travel the world with his honey and do what they do best and make a bunch of postcards and have cool memories and blah, blah, blah. What do you make of Braden Smith and the Boilermakers?
Yeah, I like Purdue more than you do. We've talked about this a little bit off air. I have a buddy who went to Purdue, and because of that, I talk a lot of Purdue ball. And I the contrarian in me likes a team that everyone kind of hates. You want to talk about swagless universities? I'm pretty sure if you polled people around the country, Purdue might take home the grand prize. And
bro, one of their best players. They asked him
agree.
He's a magician. He's like, I like to do magic as a kid. And nothing's wrong with that if you did magic as a kid in this chat, but you're not 6'8" and really good at basketball. Maybe you should have other hobbies besides magic. I don't know. You get my point though. Swagless you.
I'll tell you what was swag. When Braden Smith put that number 41 jersey on in the Big Ten championship game with no name on the back and was just out there cooking. That was fire. Those are the kind of things that stick with you, but I think Purdue is very good. I don't think that they're like as fraudulent as you do, Kevin. They looked like a different team down the stretch of the season. They destroyed Nebraska in the Big Ten tournament. They beat UCLA, who was playing very hot, albeit without Tyler Bilodeau, who's their leading scorer. And then they were in control of that game against Michigan the entire way of that Big Ten championship, it felt like. That second half, at least, they were up about 8-10 the entire time. And every time Michigan had a response, of which there were many, Purdue had one right, cooked back up for them. So I think Purdue is pretty solid. I think they play, honestly, somewhat alike Arizona with the size component side of things. Like, throw it to Clough down low and, get
Jacobson down there somewhere.
Yeah, get high percentage looks at the rim. Obviously, they have a little bit better of an offensive point guard than we do. We have a better, two-way player point guard than they do, given that Jaden Bradley is significantly better than Brayden Smith at defense. But Braden Smith is a fantastic offensive player, probably the best guard for my money in the country. I think if I see Purdue in the Elite Eight, like I'm not sitting there being like, like that's an easy dub or whatever. I think it's a tough game, but I also think that as far as Elite Eight opponents go, like it wouldn't be the end of the world. So I don't really have too crazy of thoughts about them as much as everybody else does. I think people a lot of times look at that Purdue logo and go like chokers, frauds, they're about to lose to somebody in the tournament. And as an Arizona fan, I can kind of relate to that a little bit because I feel like people kind of think the same thing about us. Their immediate reactions I saw on social media were, well, if Purdue and Arizona are both in this bracket, then they both can't choke, I guess, which they could still. But yeah, I mean, I just, you say the thing of like, well, it's Purdue and, they're a fraud that like they are every year. I think some people might say that about Arizona without actually like watching Arizona play basketball and seeing that that's just not true. So I have a little bit of worry about a team that's playing as hot as they are, second best conference in America, swept through the conference tournament. Like I think they are pretty solid.
I think why Purdue gets that like stick even more than Arizona does? This many titles. That many. Arizona at least made it the one time, was king of the mountain the one time, and it wasn't that far away. 1997 was not the most recent title for certain, but it's not like it was like in the 60s. You know what I mean? Which is, for the record, the last time Purdue made a national runner-up was the 60s.
Weren't they national runner-up? Like
they made a Final Four in 2024, but we're not the national runners-up.
Yeah, they were.
Were they?
Yeah, they lost to UConn in that national championship. Remember?
Oh shit.
Remember Danny Hurley and Zach Edey were talking mess to each other on the floor?
No, I don't remember that. That's crazy.
Hurley called timeout and then like walked by Edey and said something, and Edey like turned back and talked crap back. It was crazy.
Looked 10 feet down to locate
it was
Dan
crazy.
Hurley. But no, either way, I do think like it's just, you're right, similar vibes, but different levels of those vibes for me for Purdue. Last team on our preview here today, Miami. Welcome to Miami. Jay Lucas has put together a hell of a season this year down in South Beach. Third place in the ACC, 13-5 in conference, 25-8 overall. And you see the numbers here. Top 50 defense practically, top 45 offense, strength of schedule, top 100, pace, one of the faster teams. And now best win, Louisville. Worst loss versus Cal.
Yuck.
So what do me personally, Damon, I'm not overlooking Miami. I like what they can do rebounding the ball. They're a pretty damn tough team as well. They are, from what I looked up earlier, let me bring it back up. But I'm pretty sure they are a very efficient offensive team as I pull it back up. Yes, net rating 22nd in college basketball analytics, and they are an extremely efficient offense. They shoot 50% from the field as a team, which is 10th best in all of Division I. So I think that tells you exactly how efficient they can be. They're really strong in the paint. They're third best in all of Division I in paint points per game. Miami kind of getting it done like Arizona in a way, dominating the paint, dominating efficiency. They do not shoot a lot of threes. They're 316th in three-point attempts. But you know what? They can make them. Their 34.5 three-point percent is 138th best in the country, so about middle of the road, but they don't take a lot of threes. This team gives me, as I said in our VOD, our preview of the bracket like earlier this week, ACC Arizona vibes. They're not quite there. It's still store brand value, but it's the same style, right? It's great value Arizona Wildcats selling in the ACC. That's really kind of what it is.
Yeah, and you have the 3DMK stamp of approval as well, as he says Miami is like mini Arizona. Of course, ball knower 3DMK. And that I do remember when you said that on our watch-along show, doing our live reaction to Selection Sunday. My one thing that I would say, I wouldn't sleep on Miami to win games in this conference or in this tournament, with their style of play. But I wonder what being mini Arizona looks like when you go play against Arizona. Like when you're Charmander and you're looking up and Charizard's staring at you,
Yeah.
It's like that's the final evolution. And do you even have a chance doing the same things as what Arizona does, but at a lower level? I tend to think no, right? So that's where I'm almost sitting there like if and I trust your guys' evaluation, full disclosure, I'm not tuning into ACC basketball unless ESPN's making me. Like
Unless our
ESPN
game's getting pushed back 20
when
minutes.
when it's Big Monday and the Cats are about to play, that's when I'm watching Duke go belt to ass and win by 45 against a terrible ACC school, against Stanford on a Monday, and they're like, guys, this is the premier conference in America, the Atlantic Coast Conference. Like I just won't watch it. So if that's how Miami is, like, then I'm feeling good about Arizona matching up against them if they want to play an Arizona style of ball and go toe to toe. I don't think going band for band with Arizona is the methodology of getting an upset done.
I do agree with you. And now that has been our bracket breakdown for every team that Arizona might get pushed by in the up to the Elite Eight. Now, obviously, the Final Four. We're talking about last 4 teams standing. You're going to face some dogs. We're talking likely Michigan or likely Iowa State. Now, other teams that might be in that point of things for Arizona, not Alabama anymore, probably. Texas Tech, I mean, how far can Christian Anderson take you? We will see. Grant McCaslin put on a masterclass. Tennessee, Santa Clara.
Don't you think if Texas Tech did what it took to get to a game where they had to play Arizona, that things would not be going good at that point? Like they would have given everything. Christian Anderson is Jimmy Butler,
100%,
leaning
dog.
over, being like, I have zero energy left to give in this game. You know?
Yes. No, 100%. But yeah, that is our bracket breakdown. We're gonna keep previewing this, not only this bracket, but the game against Long Island coming up as it gets closer. But is that all we got today, Damon, on the AZ Wildcats?
Yeah, that's going to do it. We got that was a little bracket breakdown from your boys, Damon and Kevin, here on the AZ Wildcats pod. Of course, we'll be back live tomorrow at our regularly scheduled 2 p.m. showtime. So be there for that one right here on the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. A little bit light on the likes, Kevin. We've got a great amount of viewers in here all day long, but we need to get up to like 50-ish likes. We got 107 people watching. Let's run those likes up as we get on out of here, and appreciate you guys for liking this video, of course. Could not do it without the people that watch this show every single day and that participate in the chat, help us, move the conversation. Seriously, means the world to me and Kevin that we would have people that sit here and watch this show every single day to listen to a couple of gas bags talk Arizona athletics. But follow my guy Kevin at KevoPost. That's KEVOPOSTS. Follow me at Damon Dog. That's Damon DAWG. And follow us at PHNX_Wildcats on all social media. We'll get on out of here with that. Appreciate everybody for watching this show. And remember, peace out, bear down.
And go Cats. The bracket breakdown complete. It's time to play the damn games.
We all silly like the mayor.